Everyone is doing brand consistency wrong. Here is why that matters. Today, I'll show you how to keep your brand strong without getting left behind. Many people think brand consistency is all about logos and colors. But that's not the whole story. As a consultant, I've seen brands get stuck because they won't change. You need strict brand guidelines, right? Nope. I'm going to share why sticking too closely to old rules can hurt your brand. Brands need to adapt. Brands are like people, and people change. So should brands. If you keep everything the same, your brand can look old and out of touch. So how do you keep your brand strong without staying stuck in the past? Here are 3 ways to achieve brand consistency without getting left behind. Number 1, make your brand adaptable. I'll tell you how changing with the times keeps your brand alive. Your brand should be able to grow and change. That means updating your logo, colors, and style when needed. Big brands like Apple, Target, or Starbucks tweak their look for new products or seasons. You should do that too. Number 2, focus less on logos and more on experience. Here is why how people feel about your brand is key. Brand consistency isn't just about looks. It's about how people feel when they interact with your brand. Walking into your store, shopping online, or talking to your staff, that's where your brand needs to be consistent and shine. Those are the moments where everything needs to feel consistent. Number 3, be proactive with your brand. I don't see this point in brand guidelines, but let me explain to you why proactive engagement should be in every brand guidelines. Don't wait for your customers to come to you. Engage with them. Part of the brand experience is that proactive approach. Start conversations, build loyalty. This should be a part of your brand guidelines too. So let's sum them up. These 3 ways can keep your brand strong and fresh. Adapt your brand. Focus on the experience and engage proactively. Do this and your brand won't get left behind. So what should you never do when keeping your brand consistent? Here are 5 rules you should never break. Rule number 1, never be afraid to change. Holding on too tight to old ways can hurt your brand. Brands need to grow and adapt. Rule number 2, don't ignore how customers feel. The experience matters more than where your logo sits or what colors you use. Rule number 3, don't forget to engage proactively. Rule number 3, don't wait for customers to come to you. Reach out, talk to them, be a part of the conversation. Rule number 4, avoid boring brand guidelines. Saying your brand is friendly and fun isn't enough. Make it special, make it memorable. This brings me to the final rule, rule number 5. Don't ignore the power of emotions. A brand that makes people feel something is a brand they won't forget. So, how can you keep your brand consistent without getting left behind? I think you now know the answer to this. Remember to adapt. Focus on how people feel and reach out to your customers. These steps will keep your brand strong and up to date. Ready to take your brand to the next level? Start by rethinking your brand guidelines. Make sure they allow for change. Focus on the customer experience. Engage with your audience. Don't let strict rules hold your brand back. Brands need to grow and change, just like people do.